Let's get a drink. Anybody here has a drink? Well, if you don't have a drink, now it's going to be your chance to learn how to do a new drink. And coming up, when you come back to the show, we put up what are the ingredients, and you can bring the ingredients and make it together with Team Mixology. So here we go.
Drink of the week brought to you by Team Mixology. Shake, rattle, and pour.
All right, Darnell, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we have Team Mixology in the house. It's going to show us some drinks here. So what are we making today?
Today we're going to be making a variation on the classic, a pomegranate gimlet.
Oh, it's perfect for Rosh Hashanah, you know, pomegranate, Rosh Hashanah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Perfect fruit of choice and one of my personal favorites.
So let's get it going. Show us what
Hello,
we're
beautiful
doing.
humans. Hello, beautiful humans. I'm Darnell Hoagland. I'm based here out of New York City. Great to see everybody. I'm so happy to see we got some cameras on as well. I've been in the industry now for about 16 years. I've been involved in beverage for all sorts of different things. One of the most fun things I was able to do is participate in a global cocktail competition called Bacardi Legacy, representing the United States, placing top 16 in the globals. It lets us some cool things. I got a beverage podcast called Azúcar y Limón, where we do some fun content in Spanish, Spanglish, and bad Spanish, but also some really cool things in English as well. It's given me a little bit of leeway to understand a bit about cocktails and what we're going to be enjoying today. A beautiful, refreshing classic. We're doing our own little spin on that. We're using the fruit of Rosh Hashanah, which is pomegranate, and honestly, one of my personal favorite fruits as well. This cocktail is a cocktail called the Gimlet. The Gimlet itself is a classic cocktail that was created way back in the 1800s. It was when British Navy soldiers at that time were given rations of gin as well as lime to combat scurvy, pretty much a vitamin C deficiency. It was a big issue back in the day. And so they had to take lime with them onto these ships. And most of the times the way they will preserve them will be in sugar. So in that sugar, it'll just kind of create a nice little cordial, really super delicious, citrus forward. And a Navy surgeon by the name of Dr. Thomas Gimlet, who decided one day to take his ration of gin and his ration of lime cordial and combine the two, and thus was born the classic Gimlet cocktail that we're going to be enjoying today. So to get started with this, you just need a couple of things. We need a cocktail shaker. I have here what's called a Boston shaker. That means it's just like two different pieces. You normally have seen them like a glass goes on top of into this big boy. This is metal on metal because as you see, I'm in a cocktail bar. This is my cocktail bar here called Last Lap in New York City, and knock on wood, we're still standing. And so I was able to get some fun stuff. We make a lot of cocktails out here, so we need some durable tools. So to get started, you just need this. One of the shakers to get started, you may have like a different type of shaker, cobbler. Those are like with a lid and a little cap. That works just fine. Now, to make cocktails, usually we got to think about, the first thing we do is grab our glass, and we got our spirit next to us, and what we normally do, we're jumping in on ice, right? Today, we're gonna unlearn that. Why? Because ice to a bartender is like fire to a chef. We want to make sure that how we introduce that ice is going to affect our cocktail the way we want it. Plus, unlike fire, ice melts. So it's going to melt if you put that in first. And then as you're putting in each ingredient, your ice will just start to melt and you get a little extra dilution that you're not really looking for in this cocktail. Another thing that we want to do is we want to start off cheapest ingredients first, okay? So why? Well, because if I put down some sugar and I put down some lime juice and I said, oh no, I put down too much lime juice, I could get rid of that. But if I start with my spirit and then I put down some sugar and I mess up my lime juice, I'm not gonna get rid of that. That's alcohol abuse. And I don't think we're those kind of people, right guys? Like, so we wanna make sure that we take care of our spirits and our cocktail and balance it out the way we want it. So we start with the cheapest ingredients first. So what you need to measure, this is a funky tool called the jigger. It measures 2 ounces to 1. This is a Japanese style jigger. Now we don't all have these at home, and that's okay. You could just go ahead and use a shot glass. A shot glass measures about 2 ounces. So if you think about ratios, half of that is 1, and then half of that is half. So you can play around with making your cocktails. I always encourage that you use fresh ingredients. It's always going to make for a much more refreshing and tasty cocktail. So to build it, let's get going. We're going to start off with a honey syrup. Why are we making it a honey syrup? See that it's a little bit more watered down. Honey has a lot of sugar in there and a high sugar content. So not that it has a lot of sugar, but rather some good sugars and a higher content, so it doesn't dilute well in cold liquid. So we want to put a little water in there to dilute it, make it a little easier. Just do 1-to-1 with the honey, or if you really like honey flavor like I do, I sometimes do about 3 parts of honey to 1 part of water. Super easy, makes for a great cocktail. And we're just going to measure 3/4 of an ounce of honey syrup into our shaker. All right. Next up, we're going to squeeze some fresh lime juice because this is a key component in a classic gimlet. We want to go ahead and put 3/4 of an ounce of that in there. And next, we're going to go ahead and use our fruit. Pomegranate, we're going to do 1 ounce of that. This is a nice, big, juicy, refreshing cocktail. It's going to have wonderful fruit, some nice acidity, great little balance of honey. Now, like the honey, what's really cool about it, or even like when you put sugar in a cocktail, it's not just to balance out the sour. It also kind of creates texture, mouthfeel. It like coats your palate and you start to pick up all these other little flavors. It's so good. So what we're going to use up here, you can use vodka or gin. It has evolved, but I'm going to use classic gin. Gin, fun fact, is the world's first flavored vodka. It is one of those spirits, the only spirit really that starts off as a neutral grain, and then it's later infused with the key component, juniper, and redistilled, as opposed to like whiskey, where we know could come from corn or barley, rum, when we know could come from sugar. So for that, what I did here is just a measure of 1 shot of gin in there. I love gin for this cocktail because it's just super aromatic. It fits really nicely with the fruits and the pomegranate in there. It's super beautiful and refreshing. So next up.
For those that are not into gin, any replacement?
Absolutely. Vodka works just nicely. A personal favorite would be tequila. This could work nicely with that right there. I actually like rum very much. If you get a nice, clean, crisp rum, works beautiful with that too.
All right.
These are some great flavors that like blend nicely there. That's the best part about this drink too, is that if you wanted to enjoy this as a mocktail, for example, still be a fun happy hour, you know, you can actually just up the juice a little bit, and it has a nice little balance of sour and sweet and fruit. And then from there, it's interchangeable. Have a blast. Cocktails itself is meant to be for fun, and everything comes from something, right? So we want to taste it. That's gonna be so good. So you can even have fun and start to even put herbs in there as well. Put a little ice into our shaker. We're gonna give it a little shake. Now, if you have a 3-piece cobbler like the one I mentioned, you want to go ahead and put the lid first without the cap, and then the cap. Reason is because there'll be a little air that'll shoot up, and then when you put the cap on, you can seal it. Try not to press it down too much because the metal's going to go ahead and get cold. So you want to make sure it stays sealed but not stuck when you finish up. I have a 2-piece, so in order for me to know that I did this right, I have to give it a proper seal. It's a nice slam down, and I know that it works. We're gonna try to be like Alan, you know, he's like, do a little magic. Let's see if I can get this up. All right, we got a good seal going. So that's gonna.
There you go. Do your magic, man.
Yeah, see, it's not gonna spill out now, so it should work out. So to shake, super easy process. I know you've seen a lot of fancy shakes out there. You have to remember, we're making a lot of cocktails. Tennis elbow's a real thing. So we want to. It really is honestly super simple though when making cocktails at home. What you want to, the point is to make contact from end to end with the ice. You want air to kind of get pumped into it, kind of like a egg beater inside of a protein shake or something. And the ice is going to do that for us, give us a nice little frothy, refreshing texture. And then you want to put the tin horizontally with the little cap facing you or the glass facing you. And then it's a back and forth motion. If you're righty, left hand on the bottom, right hand on top to keep it sealed. And then there's one more important step when you do a shake. I promise that this will actually affect the cocktail. So this is one of the things that we all consider, is that you want to put on your best smile when you put on a shake. Because if you're not putting on your best smile, I promise you're going to end up with a pretty bitter, pretty not so yummy cocktail, right? So let's give this a nice hard shake. Get it nice and cold. Start to feel the shaker get cold in your hands. You can feel the ice kind of get whiter. It stops being big teeth, get a little more slushy. So the next couple shakes, nice and cold. You can even see a little frost, hopefully, and a little smile right there. Trying to do the best I can do. So give it a little shake. Nice little frothy texture. I'm gonna get a stemmed glass. I got a nice little wine glass here. The stem glass is always a prefer for this because ice wasn't necessarily ever offered when this cocktail was made. But when it's nice and cold, you don't want it to warm up or get too diluted. So we do stem, so we can hold it and keep our heat away from it. You can just strain it straight up there. I'm gonna keep it just like that so I can keep some of this nice, beautiful color. Love, see the nice little bubbles on the top. That's from the aeration. Gives a nice little texture to it. And then we do have to make this cocktail a little bit more complete, make it look nice. You have a couple of options. I start off with a nice little lime wheel. And then what I'm gonna do with this lime wheel is that I could cut it from the center outward, and that'll create a nice little slit. Or I could choose to, depending on, you got a nice wide mouth in the glass, you could flag that right on there and make it nice and pretty.
Beautiful. Beautiful. L'chaim. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A big shout out to Team Mixology that brought you this amazing drink, and to Team Bonding that is sponsoring this segment. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you would like to participate on our weekly happy hour show, you can find a link to sign up in the description below. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel by clicking right here, and don't forget to click on the bell so you are notified every time we publish new videos. To watch the next episode of the Happy Hour, go ahead and click here.